Hello, everyone. When news broke of the passing of Rita Owens, the beloved mother of Queen Latifah, the entertainment world collectively mourned a woman who had been more than just the matriarch of one of hip-hop and Hollywood's most influential stars. She was a teacher, a mentor, and the quiet spiritual foundation behind Latifah's strength, success, and resilience. But as the funeral came and went, fans noticed something strange: the absence of Queen Latifah's living single castmates, the very people who had once been part of her professional family during the show's monumental run in the 1990s. For years, Living Single wasn't just another sitcom. It was a cultural landmark, a groundbreaking portrayal of four Black women navigating love, friendship, and careers in New York City. The chemistry between Queen Latifah, Kim Coles, Kim Fields, and Erica Alexander was undeniable, and off-camera, they had spoken often about their sisterhood. So when not one of those co-stars appeared at Rita Owens' funeral, it raised eyebrows, sparked rumors, and left fans wondering what really happened between the once tight-knit cast and the show's leading lady. To understand the painful truth behind that absence, you have to go back decades to the complicated legacy of Living Single itself and the quiet fractures that fame, pressure, and creative tension can leave behind. Queen Latifah, born Dana Owens, had always credited her mother as the emotional anchor who kept her grounded through fame's turbulence. Rita Owens was a schoolteacher who instilled humility and purpose in her daughter from a young age. Even as Latifah became one of the first female rap superstars, her mother remained her confidant, the person who encouraged her to expand into acting and take the role of Khadijah James on Living Single. But as the show's popularity soared, so did the behind-the-scenes politics. Insiders have often said that Living Single was the original blueprint for Friends. Yet, while Friends went on to global fame and massive paychecks, Living Single struggled for recognition despite its critical and cultural impact. Within that environment, creative tensions grew, fueled by network decisions, pay disparities, and ego clashes. While the cast maintained public unity, off-camera relationships weren't always as smooth as they appeared. Some members reportedly felt that Queen Latifah's rising music and film career pulled her away from the ensemble, making her less accessible as the show progressed. Others felt the network pitted castmates against each other for visibility, especially as Latifah became the breakout star. Still, whatever private distance existed then, fans always hoped that time had healed old wounds, until Rita's passing brought those old dynamics painfully back into the spotlight. When Rita Owens died in 2018 after a long battle with heart failure, Queen Latifah's grief was immense. She had cared for her mother for years, often pausing her own career to be by her side, documenting her caregiving journey in interviews and emotional tributes. Latifah spoke openly about the deep spiritual bond they shared and the pain of watching her mother's health decline. But according to those close to her, when it came time for the funeral, she wanted it to be an intimate, deeply personal affair. Not a media event, not a red carpet spectacle, and not an occasion for old industry reunions. Sources who knew the family said the ceremony was held privately in New Jersey, with only close relatives, childhood friends, and a handful of longtime colleagues invited. The Living Single cast, while not visibly present, were said to have reached out privately, sending flowers and personal condolences rather than attending in person. Yet, to fans on the outside who had seen the living single women talk about being sisters for life. Their absence was shocking, and it reignited rumors of estrangement. But as the truth began to unfold, it became clear that this wasn't a story of betrayal or disrespect. It was one of quiet grief and boundaries. Queen Latifah has always guarded her private life with extreme care. Despite being one of the most recognizable figures in entertainment, she has maintained a rare level of discretion about her personal relationships, family matters, and inner circle. When Rita passed, Latifah reportedly asked for space and privacy, not because of resentment toward her old co-stars, but because she needed to grieve without the noise of the public eye. Those who knew her mother best said Rita was a deeply spiritual woman who valued peace and humility, and Latifah wanted her funeral to reflect that, something quiet, sacred, and without the spectacle of cameras or celebrity attention. The living single cast's absence sparked online debate, but the actresses themselves later addressed the situation indirectly through interviews and social media posts, showing nothing but love for Latifah and her family. Kim Fields shared that she had reached out to Latifah privately, and that love doesn't always need to be seen to be felt. Erica Alexander expressed empathy for Latifah's loss, saying that grief is deeply personal and that not every goodbye needs to be witnessed by the world. Kim Coles, who has always spoken highly of her co-star, later said she understood the need for privacy during such a painful time, adding that sometimes the best way to support someone is to give them space. But even with those reassurances, some fans couldn't shake the feeling that the bond once celebrated on Living Single had faded, that time, fame, and life's hardships had quietly eroded the closeness of that once sisterly group. In truth, their dynamic reflects something universal about friendships formed in fame. They are forged under pressure, tested by success, and often stretched thin by life's unpredictable paths. Living Single ended in 1998, and in the decades since, each woman took her own journey. Latifah into film and global superstardom, Fields into directing and family life, Alexander into activism and indie cinema, and Coles into comedy and self-help. Their careers diverged, and while they occasionally reunited for interviews or nostalgic moments, their relationships evolved into something quieter, more distant, yet still respectful. Rita Owens' funeral, in many ways, symbolized the delicate balance between public expectation and private healing. Latifah, dealing with immeasurable loss, didn't need a televised reunion or public display. She needed silence. Those who were there described the ceremony as intimate and emotional, filled with gospel music, heartfelt speeches, and a slideshow of family memories that captured Rita's gentle spirit. Latifah reportedly spoke about how her mother had been her best friend, her guiding light, and her reason to smile even when the world got dark. She cried openly, surrounded by loved ones, not cameras. In the end, the Living Single cast's absence wasn't an act of neglect. It was a reflection of respect for Latifah's wishes, and of how real grief often unfolds behind closed doors, not in front of an audience. But the public misunderstanding of that moment says something profound about how we view celebrity relationships, how we expect lifelong friendships to perform for us even in tragedy. The truth is, time changes all bonds, even the tightest ones. What remains between the Living Single cast and Queen Latifah isn't brokenness, but distance. The kind that life naturally creates when people grow, move, and heal differently. And if you listen to Latifah's own words about her mother, you realize she never wanted that day to be about who showed up or didn't. It was about honoring a woman who gave her everything and taught her that love is not proven by presence, but by the legacy you carry forward. So while fans may never get the reunion they dreamed of, the love shared among the living single family still lives quietly in gestures unseen by cameras, texts, calls, prayers, and memories. The kind of love that Rita Owens herself, with her endless wisdom and grace, would have understood completely. Thanks for watching.